you guys can roll
Sweet.
with it, play with it, do whatever. So that'll be that. So as a band, as a group, what got you guys started? What was like that driving force behind everything?
Well, I think we're both similar. We both started bands quite young in our teenage years. Like Tom, when did you start that band that you were in?
Probably when I was about 13 years old, and
Yeah, I was.
it wasn't amazing. It was sort of like it was a weird sort of metal sort of thing going on, but it was definitely like it was sort of born out of that frustration and that pain of being a teenager, and it's like something to do basically, that boredom. And I think it's probably similar
Yeah,
for you, Joe, wasn't it?
yeah. I think we're both sort of the same in the sense that our way of sort of, I don't know, getting our angst out or whatever was to make a lot of noise and start bands. So yeah, I was sort of in a grungy sort of band in my early teens, and then started up in new projects, and we got picked up quite early by our management, and we built it gradually. And I knew all the rest of the lads just from about, and we got them in, started the full band, and it's been that way ever since. About 4 years now.
So what
Yeah.
made you guys come up with the name Bulletproof? The Bulletproof.
That's all Joe.
Uh,
That's all Joe.
yeah, no, it's literally all it is for my 16th birthday. Mike, who's the guitarist in the band, he got me a box set of Wacky Races,
Mhm.
and that it was literally the day that we were like coming up with band names. And one of the Wacky Races is the Anthill Mob, and they drive the Bulletproof Bomb, and we thought that was pretty cool. So,
Just
and
sort
we
of
sort of
stuck.
stuck with it. I wish we gave it a bit more time, to be honest, because I sort of realised
So
it's just a little bit there.
just
But good.
so what was the thing that or some challenges that you guys once you got the band together and so forth, and to get a couple of shows, whatever. What were some challenges that you guys experienced when you were getting yourself out there?
I think the biggest problem, because we joined the band when we were sort of 16, 17. That's the sort of tender age of sort of late adolescence where you're sort of a bit unsure of yourself,
Hmm.
and so we had to sort of work ourselves out a bit more before we could probably formulate an identity for the band and say what we felt like we wanted to say. I think that's definitely the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I think
Don't know
there's
if you.
definitely a lot of there was a lot of trial and error in terms of the sort of sound we were going for. Because when it started off, there was a lot of it was quite rooted in like indie pop sort of stuff, like I don't know, like Two Door Cinema Club, kind of like really British indie pop. A lot of the Strokes and stuff like that. And I think we've gradually sort of worked in our more probably interesting influences, stuff like The Clash and Blur and Gorillaz and that stuff, which was sort of we were always interested in, but we've managed to work that into our sound a bit better now. I think it definitely took a while to sort of find our own sound, because we spent a long time sort of, I don't know, doing the indie pop thing, which maybe wasn't necessarily what we wanted to end up doing.
Okay. And in as a band, what have been? Do you guys normally collaborate with other bands? Do you do a lot of traveling in where you're at?
We haven't done that much, because we're sort of a bit of an odd band in our scene, because we're slightly, I don't know, we're more punky than the indie bands, but
Okay.
we're more indie than the punky bands. So we've never really been able to find other bands that we can really work with. Although now that we're starting to put our own nights on around the UK,
Okay.
we're starting to find a lot more acts that we're starting to get friendly with and form a kinship with.
So describe to me the scene, the music scene, because in the U.S., it can vary. It's just like anywhere else, but it can vary. You don't have certain parts of the country where the punk or the indie is not as big, and other areas is huge. You know what I'm saying? Some parts people just want to hear rap, and other parts they want to just hear rock. You know what I'm saying? What's the scene in the UK?
I think where we're from, which is like London, basically in the south, there's more of a fixation on dance music, and I think certainly the band scene in the north of England, guitar band scene is stronger, and there's a greater respect for it almost. So we've always been sort of
the local scene, yeah.
Totally, and so we've sort of been sort of running uphill a bit in London, especially. But I think in England there's the bands there's a lot of bands that are doing alright, but there's no bands like there's no Oasis, there's no Blurs, there's no like massive, exciting bands which are like changing people's lives, and I think there's definitely like a gap there.
Okay.
Well, I think it's starting to turn over a little bit because there hasn't really been any like massive bands coming out of England for the last 5 years, and I don't think there are any just yet. But there seems to be a lot of, I think with sort of the way that things are generally, there's a lot more sort of punky, angsty music coming out. Stuff like Fat White Family and Slaves are getting quite big, and so it's quite interesting that sort of around these political events, there are more sort of guitar music seems to be making a bit of a comeback. It's sort of there a lot more sort of aggressive bands coming out. It's quite interesting.
So, have you guys been? Do you guys over there? Do they normally check out? I know they listen to, but do they normally check out or try to check out some of the scene of what's going on in the U.S. as far as the music?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, I think generally people over here care more about what's going on over there than they do here. I think, I think Britain's sort of always been a bit like that. It sort of flicks between caring a lot about what's going on in Britain and between America. And I think it's definitely in America. I think sort of, I mean, maybe it's just pop in general. I mean, like Drake and Rihanna, they're sort of the predominant, I guess, big artists. But yeah, there's definitely an interest or a following to what the US does over here, definitely.
I mean, in terms of band music, it's like particularly the West Coast of America. I think the big West Coast punk scene, Waves, Fiddler, and all of that gang. There's definitely like a lot of kids around who like really love it, and you can hear it, the influence in English bands at the moment as well, for sure.
Definitely. I mean, Mac DeMarco is definitely a big one over here.
Yeah, he's Canadian. Yeah.
Have you guys?
Is it?
Have you guys ever planned on trying? I don't know if you have, already, but have you guys ever planned on coming to the U.S., probably checking out the scene and doing things to that effect?
I mean, we'd love to. We'd love to go out to the US. I'd love to go to South by Southwest, actually, in Austin.
Oh yeah, that's in Texas. That's in Texas where we're at.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that. Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, you go.
And New York, obviously.
Yeah, you go to something like that, and it's like literally. I don't know if you guys drink or not, but literally, it's like a bar. Like it's like straight through both sides, everything, and it's like just like that. That's all. There's no. I'm going to describe it as that, right? And it's phenomenal, right? Nowhere in the country, in the U.S., is it like that. Nowhere, period. So it has this unique feel. And so bands have the ability to really express themselves and just be totally into it, right? So I think that'll be a good experience for you guys. And it's the same thing. What's weird? People here are looking over there. I now that's why I asked that question, because as much as people over there may be looking over here, there are people over here looking over there. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like you guys are doing nothing. You are. It's just that you where you're at, you notice more somewhere else, and then same thing, someone else notice more that way. So I think there are bands here who would love to be performing in where you guys are from, and vice versa, which is good. Now that's one of our goals as we move forward, especially next year and so forth, is possibly making that happen, bringing bands from the different parts of the world and then bringing them here, and then creating a platform where they can go over there physically and just do it. You know what I'm saying? And they don't normally do that with indie bands. It's normally just done with major bands. But indie bands are good, though. They got following. They work it hard. So hopefully that is something that we can eventually do down the road. But the first step is to begin to connect people and so forth. Now, with your music,
Mm.
how do you think you? What is it about your music that you feel connects with your fans?
Oh.
I think first and foremost, I think we've always had sort of classic sort of English and British like band pedigree. We try and sing descriptively a lot of the time. We try to describe what we're feeling and what our friends are feeling, in the hope and probably the expectation that a lot of other people our age are feeling and seeing exactly the same things. And I think that there's a natural connection there that's created.
Yeah, I
And
suppose we've always sort of tried to keep it at high street level, but I also think it's quite emotional as well. I think generally the music, I think we try to keep it fairly complex emotionally, and I guess that's, I don't know, a strength.
Definitely.
Any big plans for the year? I mean, we're still in the top of the year, so there's a lot of different things going on, and people are planning and so forth. Is there anything particularly you guys are planning for the year that you think is a monumental point for you guys?
I think
Hopefully, yeah, because we're
yeah.
Oh, sorry, Tom.
Oh, I was going to say exactly what you're going to say about sportswear punk, because we've been banging on about this idea, sportswear punk, for a long time, but we've kind of got a bit of a clearer vision about what it is, and what that will involve is releasing a lot more music, like good pop music that's going to get on the radio and hopefully reach a lot of people, and most importantly, creating nights which we host, so hosting the bands that we like that fit in with the idea, and an attempt to make a platform for like-minded people, basically a creative platform for people like us who are making stuff who maybe aren't getting heard, but can hopefully get heard through something that we create.
Have you guys ever thought of, just follow me with this one, imagine this, right? You have the bands there. We have technology. We have social media. We have things. This is our stuff. We don't control the radio stations. We don't control the TV stations. We don't control it. Oh well, but they don't control the internet. So it's a trade-off there, and the internet reaches more people faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine doing this. Imagine having select few bands that's over there, and a select few bands that's over here, maybe in the UK. And imagine having those bands perform, broadcast live, right? Broadcast live for people to see it.
You're nicking our idea, mate.
Right.
Yeah, we.
Cool.
No, we're looking at doing a very very similar thing
Yeah.
with our nights. We're looking to broadcast them online, just because live streaming seems to be
we need
kicking
to
off a
do
little
that.
bit.
I'm
I was
gonna
actually just thinking while. Sorry. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh no, I'm saying we need to do that because we will really, really, really be supportive of that, getting bands here. Because if we can do that, just say you guys can pull. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of the bands we reach out to, especially once this first issue of the magazine goes out, we get to the second and the third one. We can tie those bands together. That'll be the motivation because they'll have the magazine platform, and then they'll to really pipeline it out, right? And then you'll have the bands over there. You guys pulling those bands together and say, okay, 10 bands these nights, share it to the world, rock it to the world, push it to the world. You know what I'm saying? Same thing on this end. We do the same thing in the U.S. All on the schedule, right? So Mug, who loves music, can literally plug in and say they're performing live, straight up. Limited
Like an online festival.
Yeah, just like a concert. Just like a big concert.
Yeah, I like
what
that.
it is, you do it, and you get the bands to come on. In the beginning, because we're setting up the platform where we can actually do that. So you can actually we can actually have it where through the the magazine site as we're building it, you're going to have the ability on that site. If we were feeding in from where you guys are at, and now on your shows, and you're just pumping it through, then the U.S. we do the same thing, so people can get a good feel of bands worldwide. They can get a live. It's not like a live performance. They can get the behind the scenes before they get up there, and then they go in there and they just do it. So now instead of performing for an indie band, because an indie band normally doesn't get an opportunity to perform in front of 10, 20, 30,000 people, 40,000, 100,000 people. They don't have that. You know what I'm saying? But if they could, they could do it on social media, and it would be hot. It would be it literally would be a whole other level. So I think that would be something that you guys, if you're thinking about that, you know, that's something that you would want to talk with us about so that we can coordinate that and make that happen. And when I mean make it happen, I move real fast. I mean like make that happen sometime this year to push that so once you go into next year, that platform is there. And therefore it helps you guys as a band, but it also helps other indie bands that are very good get out there. And it allows you to push yourself into the U.S., it allows you to push yourself into other markets where you're not, and it allows people to appreciate what you're putting out there and the hard work you're putting in. So let's stay on that one because that would be hot. I tell you that.
Let's bash heads about that. Yeah, that sounds great. Sounds really good.
Yeah. So
that's perfect.
Now, so as bands are as they are, you know, there are different things that inspire you guys. You know, what is it that inspire first? Joel, since you know Joel is hidden, we don't know where he's at. Where's Joel? There he is. Oh. But
I mean,
with Joel, what inspires you the most, man, about the music that you make, and what really pumps you up about your music?
I don't know. I kind of like the process. I like the kind of the excitement of when you first start putting together a tune, like a chorus or whatever, and you get that excitement because it's sort of like when you make a song, it's kind of like making a little pocket universe. It's kind of its own little thing. It's independent, and then each song's different, and they all mean different things. And I like building that, and then I like taking that to a stage and sort of getting that interaction, and also, you know, like you said with the internet, you can see people respond to it online, and I don't know, I like that sort of. It's not really interactive, but I like the interactive feel of it, of like putting stuff out there and people responding, doing that on stage and with releasing music. I like that sort of cause and effect, putting stuff out there and people listening to it. I think it's that.
That makes sense. What about you, Thomas?
Well, I mean, Joel's the like lead songwriter, so he's the one who gets pumped up by the songwriting process. But I do chip in every now and again, and I like feeling as though what I'm writing, in some sense, is gonna communicate an idea to someone I enjoy and relate to in some way. And I think that's the exciting thing about making a song and putting it out there and playing it live. I think that's lovely.
That makes sense.
Lovely.
Give me. I always ask everybody this: give me the bands or the band or the bands that inspire you the most, because everybody has it. You know, they have a band or bands or something that inspires them. That's like, wow, you know what, man, I got to do this because I listen to their music and I want to make other people feel the same way. Who are some bands, some icons that really touch you guys as artists?
I mean, for me, I'll go on, Joe. You go first. There you go first.
All right. Yeah, I literally had that reaction when I was 14 and I heard Pearl Jam for the first time. It's kind of a weird one. No one in my generation really listens to Pearl Jam, so which kind of made it even better for me because it really felt like it was my band. But yeah, no, I really liked the sort of. There was something about Pearl Jam which is it was the perfect mix of like hippie idealism and punk anger, and I think I still try and get that right with the Bulletproof Bomb. I think that definitely their sort of the philosophy of their music has definitely always I've always kept that close.
For me, it's probably I remember I'm going to sound like a complete prick about this, but when I remember sitting on the bus and listening to the Sex Pistols, and I remember thinking like that is so cool. That I just kind of clicked, and like the way like a band can be like disgusting in a way, but like be like can touch your arm effectively. It's great.
Right.
That was the time I realised how music can like be powerful. I think.
Yeah.
I do sound like a knob, but like that's genuinely true.
And the good thing is, if you think about it, for you guys, you know where they are, where you can be. You know what I'm saying? And it all boils down to how the effort, the process, and you know how much do you want it. You know what I'm saying? Because where they are, where you can be, and beyond that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's important for us to take advantage of social media so that you can make those moves. You know what I'm saying? Because without that, you know, you have to be a band that's where you are, but you have to be global. And if you don't make it global nowadays, it's almost like not hearing anybody. You know what I'm saying? So you guys have good music. You have real good music. So that's neither here nor there. So now the mission is to push it out further and harder. So that's why Mkova